Let us now address the prickling conscience of any self-respecting Gothamite, if one can still speak of conscience in that poor, benighted town, and place the blame for its persistent nightmares exactly where it belongs, at the feet of the so-called Dark Knight. Yes, the time has come to unmask the great moral charlatan who claims the mantle of protector while knowingly leaving the city's heart of darkness intact. The festering node, the suppurating carbuncle of the city's descent into Gothic squalor, is Arkham Asylum, an institution so irredeemable, so irreconcilably wedded to perpetual evil, that to allow it even another midnight's existence is to actively conspire in the suffering of innocence. And who is its most tireless accomplice? Who ensures the status quo never breaks, the wheel of horror never stops turning? None other than Batman himself. Look closely at the man who leaps between gargoyles and gutters, so deft at delivering martial justice to pickpockets and kingpins, yet impotently reverent in the presence of Arkham's obscene permanence. What is this if not a tacit endorsement, a protective hand extended over a house of unspeakable maladies and moral squalor? The Joker, the Riddler, Two-Face, Scarecrow, and a legion of others whose very names have come to stand for the grotesque and the unforgivable, cycle in and out with a mocking nonchalance. Each escape a baleful taunt directed at Batman. You could have ended this. You chose not to. This wretched place is no hospital, no fount of so-called rehabilitation. It is an infernal recycling plant where horrors are pressed into fresh shapes and spat back onto the streets. Arkham is a bleeding wound, and by failing to cauterize it, indeed by protecting it from the flames it so richly deserves, Batman encourages the infection to spread. The moral calculus here is not ambiguous. The asylum does not produce cures, it breeds villains. Its business model is madness and murder. It was a mistake from the start, a warped dream of therapy that has long since surrendered to the nightmarish reality of serial breakout and slaughter. The only sane response is to destroy it utterly, to erase it from Gotham's map like a malignant tumor carved out of a suffering body. But Batman, with his preening code and his no-kill shibboleths, trembles at the threshold of what truly needs doing. The man who will vanish into shadows to break a burglar's wrist will not lift a gauntleted finger to raise an edifice that has become the city's own gallows. He has no problem deploying his technological arsenal to apprehend the freaks Arkham shelters, but when it comes time to address the root cause, the rancid, fetid soil from which these monsters sprout, he stands paralyzed. Must we believe that a vigilante can topple criminal empires but cannot incinerate a building known to be the womb of endless horror? This is not heroism, it is the moral dereliction of a costumed caretaker, tending lovingly to his prized garden of maniacs. It is as though Batman has chained himself to a moral litmus test that no decent being could pass, preferring an elaborate charade of justice to the imperative of ending a mortal threat at its source. So, let him no longer hide behind the worn excuse that Arkham is a public institution, or that it is not his place to ensure its destruction. What else is his vaunted place if not to do what no one else can or will? He has the intellect, the tools, the near-limitless resources. At his disposal are fleets of armoured vehicles, arsenals of controlled incendiaries, and any number of secretive plans he could enact in the dark of night. If he can outwit a roomful of criminal masterminds, he can certainly devise a means to evacuate the pitiable souls still trapped within Arkham's walls, and then set the place ablaze. There are no unsolvable riddles here, just a question of moral courage, the fortitude to accept that something is beyond redemption. It is long past time for Batman to lay siege to Arkham. Yes, siege, a sustained and unrelenting assault on the building itself, the infrastructure of evil it represents. He must storm it as one would storm the fortress of an occupying army. He must breach its doors not to bring fresh victims within, but to rescue them from that cursed hellmouth once and for all. He must then bring the entire abomination crashing down in a roar of righteous fury, reducing those tainted halls to ash and rubble. Only through this final, irrevocable gesture can he even begin to atone for the countless times he has meekly delivered fresh fodder into its ravenous maw. And if he will not do it, if the protector of Gotham continues to fiddle while Arkham's maniacs burn the world around him, then Batman must be stripped of his laurels and exposed for what he truly is. The supreme enabler, the warden of a never-ending underworld carnival of cruelty. In that case, let the people of Gotham reject him. Let them call him what he is, a fellow traveller with evil, a caped overseer guarding a plantation of perpetual terror. For the ultimate crime in Gotham is not the latest mass murder orchestrated by a clown or a botanist's venomed kiss. It is the daily, knowing choice of the man in the cowl to preserve the breeding ground of those atrocities. If Batman persists in dignifying Arkham with his grim respect, he condemns the city to the eternal stench of its undead horrors. Let him either prove himself worthy of his legend, let him end the infernal cycle by levelling that warren of wickedness, or be damned as its silent, snivelling collaborator. The era of his pious pretense is over. It is time to bring down the roof beams and light the pyre. Let Arkham burn. Let it burn, and let Batman wield the torch.